So why are relationships so frustrating, confusing? Got any great answers there? Other than that, we're just human, right? I mean, we're human. In a perfect world, right? I mean, we're human. It takes humility to walk this walk. It takes openness. It takes the best of us to work at relationships. And something special happens when you have not just one person wanting to do it, but both people are at the same place wanting to work it through. Something special can happen. I've seen it before. This is normally the case. With married couples, one of them really are open, one of them's not. And then I've seen it flip-flop. The other's really open now, and the other's not. One of them really wants it, the other thinks things fine. And it's hard to get both people at the same spot. And then my job is that I say, okay, my job as someone that helps somebody is I have to gain people's trust, and then if I say, will you trust me? And then I need to talk to the one that I think really needs some encouragement, and I say, we need to meet separately. Because they're not really coming to the table well. And I need to communicate that so that there can be some sort of way of coming together. I like what M. Scott Peck says in his 4 stages of community. He opens up with pseudo-community. What's pseudo mean?
False.
Fake. False community. How you doing, Alan? Everything's everything's fine. And we have this surfacey, pseudo, everything's great community. And oftentimes that's what happens within churches or within different relationships. Ralph Nader calls it the honeymoon stage, and everything seems fine. And as soon as anybody says something that might offend us, any truth that might stir us, what do Christians do?
Go to another church.
Go to another church. Let's go to another church. You know, this isn't working out here. Instead of, can we have a conversation? I want to hear further about it. I really don't see what's going on here, but you know, and maybe I won't, but can we have a, are you willing to talk with me and walk with me more about this? The pseudo-community. Now, he says that when people start speaking the truth in love, they go to chaos. How many understand this? All hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose. Chaos happens in the house, in our relationships. People start to talk. Things start to break down. All hell breaks loose. And then, what do we do after all hell breaks loose, quote unquote? We go back to pseudo-community. Oh, everything's fine. You know, maybe I should talk about that anymore. And we live this fakey, smiling, everything's fine. We just won't talk about that stuff anymore. I just need to be more loving, more understanding. To hell with truth. To hell with honesty, right? I say, man, Ron's just using hell a lot. I've heard about it. Every one of you use that word before. And if we can't get really plain in here, what are we doing? And somebody might be more upset about hell, not even upset about hell. More upset about that than we don't have real relationships. I'd rather have you get more upset that you don't have real relationships with the people that you live with. That we go into this chaos place. Bill Hybels calls it the tunnel of chaos, where it's dark. And we go into this place where there's no bearings. How many know if you're going to have any real community, things get worse before they get better. The people that I have the deeper relationships in this room, we work through the chaos. How many know that those that you've worked through the chaos with are the deep relationships?
Absolutely.
We've worked through chaos, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
We've worked through stuff.
Yep.
I can just go, there are people in this room where we've worked through it, but many of us, we hate conflict. We just got to admit it. We hate it like the plague, and we'll never want to face it. And then we will just live on this surfacey
Right.
relationships where everyone wears masks because we hate it. Because we hate conflict. Now, on the flip side, there are some people that sort of love conflict.
Yep.
If you love conflict, you probably need therapy.
Amen.
So some more weed.
But there are some people that love to argue. Now, if you were in the Williams house way back when, now, when I grew up, we always, I don't know, we talked in ways that's how we communicated. We just sort of, that's what we did. I don't know, maybe you can talk about it.
Connection through confrontation.
We would confront each other, and that's just how we did it, They were sharp words given there, but everything was okay.
He and his mother.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's fine. I start doing this with Nina, man, she shuts down. She cries to cry and go in the other room. She starts to cry and goes in the other room, and I don't know what's going on. You see? I have no idea what's happening. And then she, I'm more verbal from that aspect. Not that she's not verbal, but she's better at writing, so she would start writing me. Man, this is a different approach. I suppose when I get some writing, man, this is serious.
I get a word in edgewise.
But and some people are better in the moment and they're speaking. They're better in the moment and speaking. And some people need to unhook and need reflection before they can start to speak. Well, I'll just speak in the moment. I think you all know that. That's who I am. That's what I do. And then, it's like, no one wants to argue with Ron, It just ain't going to work. So I've learned to try to ratchet it back. You have no idea.
Yeah.
I've tried. Yeah, you have no idea how I'm stifling myself.
Oh, yeah, we do.
So to ratchet that back, we have to be in tune. So, at first, man, this is confusing. This is confusing. We had to go through some chaos. And not only, I'm more of a night person, she's a morning person. It's 9 o'clock, I want to talk about stuff, and she's shutting down.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm revved up and let's go for it, and she's winding down. She said, and then she told me the statement way back when, anything after 9 o'clock, let's not talk about anything serious.
Good.
And that depressed me for a while. What can I say, man? That's what I want to talk. So we have to figure this out. We got through some chaos. But it's always good to go through chaos with Benita because she's so committed to the relationship.
Right.
But to those that aren't committed to the relationship, you're just walking on pins and needles, you know? Because you can't push through anything. You can't work through anything. Especially if couples throw around the divorce word. There's no way you work through. How do you work through anything? You can't. Let's just go back to the false, surfacey relationship. It was early on, way back when you were talking about your relationship with your husband, and I remember telling you, I know you don't realize it, you got problems.
You told me you wouldn't counsel us if I brought up the divorce word again. Yeah, you said you need to take that divorce cord off the stove.
I mean, you were very possible.
But I know at first, when you started having real community, you went into the tunnel of chaos.
Oh, yeah. Whirlwind.
And then after that, Peck says we go into this place of emptiness. Where it's like we have nothing. There isn't anything
It's like, who am I? Yeah, it's
Oh.
got having to find
here. We
that.
go through an empty
Oh.
time where we don't,
No idea.
it's like hopeless.
Yep.
It's darkest before the dawn.
Yep.
And he says that it's at that point, if we continue on and we press through, we can get to community. But these are the stages. And we can always unhook and go back to pseudo-community. You're dying inside and say, oh, I'm fine. I've seen people do this. Oh, I'm fine. With the tears coming down their eyes, with a smile on their face. Hard. For some of us, it's so ingrained. We just react. And through this, it's just not about speaking the truth. Are we as committed to hearing the truth? How about hearing the truth?
Yeah.
Are we as that committed? And it's at these points in here we realize that one of the biggest things that we have that hinder us from community are these judgments we have against people, against men, against women, against what I think versus you think. We have so many judgments. To lay the judgments down.
Amen.
And to say, maybe I don't know how to have a relationship. And maybe I really don't know you. Am I willing to fall in love again? Maybe to someone that I thought I knew, but maybe I don't know. And the ground has to be, we want it to go back the way it was. We can never go backward in a relationship. We can always go forward. And it won't look like we like it to, probably. But it can always be better. If we do it with God, it'll always be better. And this is huge. We've talked about this, similar type of thing itself. You go from that honeymoon stage, you go to the conflict stage. When you really start to get to know one another. This is Paul. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this one right now. Love is a powerful way of removing the mask. We all insist on it. Truth has a powerful. I would want to redo this. Love and truth has a powerful way of removing the mask.
Good.
We all insist on that. Love and truth. We've looked at this before, but we just need to admit what we're at. Are we willing to go into the chaos? The only way to get to real community is to go through the chaos and the emptiness. And I can't tell you how long that process is going to be. For some people, it takes months and years, depending on how big the problems are. But with humility and gentleness, you can work out anything. It took some time between you and Michael, didn't it? Mike's in the back, because he had surgery this past week, right? Thursday? And he was up there playing. Wasn't that nice? I told him he didn't have to, and he says, no, I'll do it. I'll be groaning and moaning, but I'll do it. He wanted to do it. He had the gallbladder taken out, and here he is. He's doing it. He said drugs are wonderful. That's what he said. I mean, he wasn't drugged out, or else he couldn't play. He couldn't even keep a beat, but, you know, it staved away most of the pain, or some of the pain. I don't know. I mean, he'll tell me tomorrow. And it was a question that was on one of the radio programs that sometimes I'm traveling in my van. And it was Chris Fabry that had the question. He says, and he opened it up and had people call in. He says, what do people, you know, what's one thing that you do that causes you pain? That you still do it because it's worth it. And he says, this man called in and said, he says, I work in the nursery, and I have tremendous types of pain in my back. He says, I have for years. Always loved to do it with my kids. They would like to jump on me in this, and you know, I still sign up for the nursery, and I don't tell anybody about it. And the kids jump all over me, and he says, and I love it, and it's worth it. The pain's worth it. And then there was another lady that came in, that called in and said about her fibromyalgia and how all the pain that she was in, but she loves to be with her grandkids. And she loves to play with her grandkids, and she was doing all sorts of things. And her grandkids know that Grandma's in pain. Then one of the little grandchildren said, Grandma, why do you play with us like the way you do? Is it because you're crazy or because you love us?
Yeah.
Is it because you're crazy or is it because you love us? And that was such a great comment. And this woman called in about her marriage and was struggling in her marriage, but she's sticking with it. It is causing so much pain for her because they've had to have a temporary separation, but it's worth it because she's committed to the relationship. And then I thought about it. Isn't that what Jesus did? Coming down to this earth caused him tremendous pain. He knew he was going to have to come to this earth, be misunderstood, be rejected, suffer, and die because it was worth it. Isn't that what love is? Love hurts. And if we're really going to have real relationships, it means we're going to hurt. It's going to cause us pain. It's going to cause us suffering. Because that's what real love is. There are some times, I think you probably heard it before when people come up to you and say, I don't want to put you out. No, I don't want this to cause any consternation, or I don't want this to cause anything that would put you out, or that you would have to change your schedule. Then I would say, if it doesn't cost me anything, is it really love? We want great relationships. We want great community, but we don't want to go through the pain. We want the easy track. Is this what we really want? Are we committed to being gentle and open and humble and listen? Are we committed to spending that kind of time with each other to really work it out in our marriages and in our homes? Are we willing to get over ourselves and our judgments? That's what it's going to take. Is that what we want? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Because we don't know what it's really going to look like. Because we're in that place of chaos and that place of emptiness. Go back to that one song that we sang. I still believe. Even when I don't see,
Yeah.
I still believe, right?
Right.
I like the second verse here. Though the questions still fog up my mind, with promises I still seem to bear. Or even when answers slowly unwind, as my heart I see you prepare. God's working on our hearts, and maybe we've had this weird promise that when we come to Jesus, everything gets better. Everything gets better if we go through the chaos and emptiness.
Right.
And it's in the chaos of emptiness when we really have to say, who am I and what do I believe?
Right.
That's when God's working on our heart to bring us to community. That's what it's going to look like. How many want to stand before God and just say, I don't know what I'm getting into, but I don't want any fake relationships.
Amen.
But it's going to take a broken heart. It's going to take me to be open in a way that maybe I haven't in the past been open. And if that's you, just lift your hands up like this. You want to stand?
I did.
Okay, stand up. Stand and lift your hands. That's you. You're saying, this is what I want. I want real community. I want something real with God. I don't want some fakey
That's right.
religious experience. I want what's real with God. Lord, you know our hearts.
Thank you, Lord.
You know who we are.
Yes, Lord.
You showed us the way. It wasn't easy. You left heaven. You left the safe place and showed us what it takes. It takes a humble heart. It takes a lot of humility to simply follow you. But in the end, it's worth it.
Yes.
Help us, God. Help us to start making the steps and stripping off the veneer, the fakey
Yes.
masks that we wear, and to be open enough to say, is that a mask you're wearing? Would you get honest? Maybe you don't realize it, but something's missing in our relationship.
Yes.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Lord.
Holy Spirit, thank you for being right here and helping us and giving us the courage to follow you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, I think I've experienced the pseudo community. I've probably, no, not probably, I did live a long time in that community, years. Went 14 years to a church, just this one church, and that's what I did. It was a pseudo community. And not until really I came here did I experience chaos, emptiness, and all those things. It was difficult. It was difficult. And, you know, as I stand and I raise my hands, I know that's a commitment, and that most likely I'll be walking through that. If not right now, down the road. I mean, it just happens. When he talks about talking about truth, he talks about this, I know that I'm going to walk through that. And Lord, give us all the grace to go through that and really want community where we can truth and love with each other. That's awesome, because that's really family to me. It means family. You can be who you are, and with people speaking truth and love. So I really like that. And reminded me of Ron and Benita's relationship, as their husband and wife, of course, and I know that sounded kind of silly after I said it. And then I thought about Kathy Brown and my relationship, very much like we're friends, and because Ron's, you know, outspoken, out there, you know, I'm real out there. Kathy needs to process, maybe to write. And I just thought of that as you spoke of that, how our friendship has grown, and I'm becoming to know her at a deeper level, that where I just say it. I'm more direct, and she's more like, I gotta think about this. I need time to process this. Give me some time, Irene. And I need to respect that. We need to respect each other where we're at in that. And so I appreciate the message. And it continues to speak to me, because relationships are difficult at times, frustrating, confusing. But if we stick together and we no longer want this surface relationship and we want to go to deep places, wow, what a family we'll have. What a family we'll have. I have a couple words. Megan, one's for you. Of course, right? Will you look at me? I like the eyeball contact just out there, and I like eyeball contact down here. I just heard this. I'm going to give it to you the way I believe I heard it, okay? There's a miracle about to happen, but you might not even realize it as a miracle. So I'm asking God to let you see it when it comes your way, that your eyes will be opened, and that you will know that God has done a miracle. Seal this word over Megan, God. Let her miracle just shake her up. Let her see it without a shadow of a doubt. And that, God, that you're changing and you're turning things around for her. Because you love her and you care about her. And you're reaching to her today. May she know and may she experience your love at a deeper level than she ever has. And may we, as this body, show her and reach out to her as she needs us to reach out to her, even when she doesn't want us to reach out to her. That God, that she will allow us to embrace her and to hold her in these times that it's difficult for her to go through. In Jesus' name. Amen. Betty? The situation, circumstances you're going through is for your good. You might not see it that way right now, but in the midst of all this, what the enemy might have wanted for evil, God's going to turn around for his good, and it's going to bring, you're going to see it as good. As good. There is a foundation of good that's going to come through all this, because he loves you, and he's reaching to you. And he wants you to know that you can trust him. Even though at times you've doubted him and wondered why. Why, God? Why is this happening? God says, trust me. I'm right there. I'm holding your hand. I'm going to walk you right through this circumstance. I'm going to take you to the other side. And it's going to all come out for his glory and his honor and his praise. But it's going to do something in you. It's going to change something in you. Because he's going to touch that very core of who you are. In Jesus' name. Amen. Any